Hey everybody, it's Daily Dose of Sean here for another video, and today is going to be an interesting one and probably one of my longer videos just because I'm talking about something I'm super passionate about, and I know it's really late. I get that. I'm sorry, but I haven't had the proper setup until now. So, we are going to be talking about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. So we got the Switch Lite, and I gotta say, as much as I love it, I don't use it as much as I thought I would, just because my main intention of getting the Switch Lite was so that I could use it for handheld Pokemon, which I do use. The only problem is file transfer right now on the Switch is not the greatest, but I do love playing it. I play my copy of Shield on here, and I play Sword on my main Switch, which I've got skinned with a Pokemon deck all, because I love Pokemon. But yeah, the games are spectacular. The Switch Lite is spectacular, and I love the games. Today I'm going to go over a few things that I like and don't like about the games, and things that I love. So, getting started with the things that I don't like, just because I feel it's fair to get the negatives out of the way. Not that there's very many, but just to get them out of the way before I start getting into things. And I actually have a list written down here, so I'm just going to pull that out. I know this is not very professional, but here we go. So let's start off with the negatives. There's going to be one thing on here that will infuriate a lot of you, but whatever, it's my own opinion. So starting with the things I hate. The post-game story. I feel Pokemon really just gave up. They were like, hey, we got a great story down, and they do have a great story, but we don't need anything else. The character design for the two characters you have to follow at the end was brutal. Like, don't get me wrong, I get they're playing off of Sword and Shield, but like, honestly, it was brutal. On to the next one is I don't like how much of an overflow of older Pokemon they had. I feel like a majority of the Pokemon in the game were older Pokemon, which I understand. Game Freak is running out of ideas for Pokemon, and that's not saying that the ideas they have are bad. I really loved most of the new gen Pokemon. I did, because they were cool designs. And I think that their new designs were great, but it seemed like I was finding a majority of older Pokemon instead of newer Pokemon, and I did not like that. The fact that the wild area was swarmed with them, the routes were swarmed with them, the gym leaders were using them, I just found that annoying. And don't get me wrong, I love older Pokemon. Older Pokemon are great. Hell, you can see I've got a Gen 1 Pokemon poster right back there. I love the older Pokemon. I think that overflowing them so much was a bad decision. Just for new players, for old players, I don't think it was a good one. And here's the one that's going to get me in trouble. The last thing I hated about this game, Charizard. Yep, I have said it, Charizard. Charizard is a good Pokemon. I feel Game Freak is shoving him down our throats. We've had 2 Mega Evolutions for Charizard already in X and Y. And now he's not only the only Gen 1 starter Pokemon in this entire game. You will not find a Bulbasaur. You will not find a Squirtle or either of its evolutions. But you'll get a Charizard. That's unfair. Like, at least include the other starters. And I'm not saying that removing the national dex was a bad idea, because in all fairness, I think it was a great one. But you can't remove 2 of the 3 of a starter set from a game. That's just ridiculous. And the fact that he also gets a Gigantamax form, I was about to say Gigantamax move, that's not correct. But he gets a Gigantamax form, I almost did it again, and the champion uses him. I feel like all gym leaders or champions in the game should be using Pokemon exclusive to that gen. So it gives you more of an in and out of what's actually going on. So that's my 3 hates for this game. Now we're going to go on to likes. Because the likes are... Obviously we're building back to get into the loves. But, hey, got to start somewhere. So, my likes. The characters. I think a majority of the characters, give or take, there were a few that were pretty god-awful. Like I said, post-game story characters were terrible. Like, let's be honest here. And then we've got Bede, or Bidet, or whatever the hell. I'm going to call him Bidet, because he was honestly an asswipe. But, like, some of the characters were lacking, but so many of them were so good, it made the story so much better. Next, the soundtrack. I effing loved the soundtrack when you are facing a gym leader's Dynamax Pokemon. That song that is playing when it's going is epic, and I love it. I also liked most of the gym leader or gym challenges, which, given there were 2, I think I really didn't like, but just because I thought they were plain. Like the fairy type gym leader is a perfect example. That was brutal. We just have to answer questions and face people. That just kind of takes it back to older generations of Pokemon instead of bringing it into a new. I love the gym challenges, except for that one, and there was one other that honestly is slipping my mind right now. But they were good. I liked them. They were creative. They were inventive. A lot of them were stuff we've never seen before. And I liked that. And then the last of my likes, keep in mind I liked a lot of things, I'm just narrowing it down. But the last of my likes was the strong Pokemon in the wild area. I thought that was wicked. It was so cool to see overworld Pokemon just running around in not even grass, which I thought was pretty cool. And you could challenge them and you could fight them, don't get me wrong, but catching them was difficult. Difficult by, I mean, not existent. You couldn't catch them if you were too low of a level. But hey, I digress. You could get some easy XP off of them by facing them, and that was cool. So, now we're moving on to the loves. I absolutely loved the story. I thought the fact of the gym challenge was wicked. I thought that just the gyms and the way you face them and go from town to town was awesome. Like, they fused it all together really well. And given I didn't like that throughout the main story you couldn't catch your version legendary, you had to wait till post-game, but you got to catch Eternatus, which, in all fairness, despite he's a powerful Pokemon, I probably won't use him. I don't like his appearance. I don't like a lot of things about him. I don't know. It just seems like he's... If missing no were to evolve, this is what I picture him to look like. I love the wild area. I still do. It's my favorite part of the game, and I find now that I've beaten the entire story, excluding the post-story, because I honestly hated it so much that I don't want to continue it. I love the wild area. It's an expansive place that you can go and explore, and it's wicked. You can go and find tons of different Pokemon. The weather influences which Pokemon, the time of day, like, it's just wicked. And we're going to go on to the next point, which plays into the wild areas. I love the raids. One of the main things I've been doing in the game as of lately, like literally all I've been doing in this game as of lately, is the raids. I love doing the raids and trying to catch those strong Pokemon and take them down. And the fact that it makes it so much easier to level up your Pokemon in the end is incredible. Like, you could get a level 100 in no time if you wanted to use those EXP candies. And I like that. It's interesting. But I don't like how the only way to catch a Gigantamax Pokemon is through a Gigantamax raid. I think that's a little silly, but I digress. And then the last point that I will bring up is I loved the new Pokemon. The new Pokemon had some insane designs. My favorite being Toxtricity. I really loved him, and he's by far one of my star players on my team. And like Colossal, there's so many different examples I could use that are just spectacular. And overall, I would say for this game I'd give it a rating of 8.5 out of 10. I want to give it 9. I feel there's just too many things that could be improved upon, and not a lot. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like there's more than 2 or 3 that could be improved upon to make the game better. So 8.5 out of 10 is my official rating for it. Go grab yourself a sick Power A controller, play the game, sit down and play it for hours, because I can tell you that's what I did, for sure. Anyways, thanks for watching again. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to see any suggestions of anything you'd like to mention, that I should review, that I should showcase, anything. Because I like the suggestions. It makes a lot of fun trying to find them and do all that kind of stuff. But anyways, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.